Hi guys, I just wanted to give you a quick demonstration about a couple of things that I noticed that you guys are doing a little bit wrong or different than what I would have done. So just a couple of things. First of all, how do you duplicate the lesson? You have to click on the lesson on this little arrow, then you're going to see this pop-up menu, and then you click duplicate. And then you rename. Most of you do it right, but what you forget to do is that when you rename it, you leave a little space right here. This space. Shouldn't be no spaces here. No spaces. No spaces. Has to be this name. Otherwise, your summary page will not work. Now, if you rename it and if you don't move any table, any columns, anything like that, you should be fine. The formula would not be messed up. Everything would look just fine. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you guys how to do cheat sheet, how to push the student through some of these rules. And I'm going to speak Russian here for those of you that speak Russian a little bit when I make examples. But it is equally applicable to, I'm sure, Spanish language, any other language, because this is how I explain English rules to Russian beginner students. So here we go. I first start with pointing out that the infinitive form of the verb has to have to in front of it. So to in front of the verb is the same thing as t after the verb in Russian language. So this little word glagol, it kind of makes sense. To and ch even look almost the same. It's just to is in front and ch is at the end. And then I explained that there are, in English sentence, there's always got to be a verb. There are certain sentences like I'm a teacher, you are a student, that do not require the verb in Russian language, and maybe for some other languages as well. In this case, I tell them that in English language there is a verb to be, and then we conjugate this word. Verb A, I am, you are, we are, he is, she is, they are, it is. It is. So now, then I asked the student to follow our three rules and make these sentences with noun, adjective, and continuous tense, present continuous themselves. But before I do that, I explain to them three rules that they have to follow. First, we speak English only. Second, if they don't understand you, they have to ask you what they want to say or what you said, and they use these two sentences. And then finally, they turn their cell phones off. So then you ask them to actually start making these sentences. So they say I am, and then they ask you how do you say doctor, and you say oh doctor. Okay, so they say doctor, right? But it's incorrect. You add capital letter there, and you correct it right here in the same sentence. You don't copy and paste it as we do it in column A and B in our regular lesson. Then you go to you, and then they say you are. You are a teacher. You do the same thing, and then so on and so forth with adjective, continuous, and passive. Let me give you an example of what it should look like. Let's see. One of these lessons that I did when I used to teach a lot. Let's see. See if I can pull it up. Don't even have it yet. Oh, there you go. Cheat sheet. So yeah, this is what it would look like. Let me just copy and paste it here. And then I go back down and I explain to them there is past tense, present tense, and future tense. Then I explain there is simple, continuous, and perfect continuous. I also tell them that where I have XX, those tenses we will not cover, as they are seldomly used and they are not important at this point. Then I explain to them that there is a such thing as an auxiliary verb, magatny gлагол in Russian. And I explain to them that the auxiliary verb in these two sentences, present simple and past simple, are not used in positive tense. So what I do is then I ask them to make sentences with in each of these tenses themselves. And what it would look like is, I think about, no, I don't have it in this, but basically they would say I went to the store, right, that's correct, I went not to the store, and here's where they will make a mistake, and this is where you correct them. I did not go to the store. And then the question is, did I go to the store, right, and so on and so forth. So this whole, and the answer would be yes I did, no I didn't. So just a couple of things to remind you. When you duplicate the lesson, make sure you have no spaces around the word, the letter L or one in between them, because otherwise this formula wouldn't be able to look up correctly. And then the second thing is that we push them down through the cheat sheet, starting with why do we have to in front of the verb. Then we cover that every English sentence must have a verb. Then we explain that there is a verb to be. In those cases when we don't need the verb to be, we talk about how to conjugate this verb. Then we make examples with the noun, adjective, continuous. When they make the sentences, you correct them in the same sentence. You don't forget to mention about 3 rules in these 2 major sentences. And how do you say what does it mean? Every time they don't know a word, you add it and you put it in capital letters. And then you move these words to column C in lesson 1 or lesson 2. Okay, thank you for your time, and I'll have another video for you shortly.